Wednesday, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, the 4th day of June 2014. I'm your friendly neighborhood naturopath, your steadfast advocate for health. Welcome aboard to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now, where we talk about all things holistic, where we talk about science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery that your medical professional is completely unaware of. Why? Because the medical theater here in the United States and North America and all around the world has been completely dominated and co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry for the last 100 years. So your MD, bless their hearts, does not know what's best for you. He or she only knows what they've been trained in, and what they've been trained in is just a tiny piece of the pie of medical science. And so this is what we do here. We talk about the stuff that your MD is unaware of, therapeutics, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself. And this is the fundamental foundation principle and difference between the holistic method and all other methods. Holistic medicine argues that the body knows how to fix itself, the body wants to fix itself, and it's the holistic physician's job to facilitate that process. Your MD is trained to believe that once you're sick, you're screwed. Your body absolutely, positively cannot fix itself, and your only option is to manage your symptoms with drugs until surgery is needed, and then when the surgery fails, you just get another surgery. And this is how it goes in the land of the insane. The problem that exists right now is that, the medical industry has been monopolized. And because the medical industry has been monopolized, you have just one worldview, just one philosophy that overarches everything else, and it becomes reality by consensus. It becomes the insanity club. All the MDs follow along in lockstep. They all follow along in lockstep. Right or wrong, they just put out the party line. And they have no intellectual integrity because they have no problem changing the party line, which they do all of the time. First they'll tell you that these cholesterol levels are healthy, and then they'll adjust it down, and then they'll adjust it down, and then they'll adjust it down. They'll do the same thing with blood pressure. They'll do the same thing with LDL and HDL. And when they move the goalpost, nobody calls them on it. Nobody holds their feet to the intellectual fire of integrity. And why? Because they're the top dog, and they have convinced everybody in the world that it's their way or the highway, and that they are the exclusive owners of the domain of scientific medicine, and that everybody else is a back-of-the-bus quack. So, they have convinced you that it's their way is the only way. And this is the biggest problem that we have in the world right now, is our abject allegiance and genuflection at the altar of MD-directed allopathic reductionism, which is great for surgery when surgery is necessary, and it's great for trauma when your attending physician is not addicted to street drugs, alcohol, or prescription medication, as Harvard University says over 50% of emergency room physicians are. Again, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and when you have a monopoly, it's only a matter of time until corruption sets in. So, the MDs harm us, the MDs kill us, the MDs bankrupt us, and we give them a pass. They continue to have a job. They continue to go back to work. They continue to deliver a juvenile, outdated, old-fashioned therapeutics that actually hurt people, and nothing happens to them. And this is a problem. Now, people always ask me, they say, Doc, there are a lot of nutritional supplement companies in the world. There's a lot of vitamins. There's a lot of herbs. There's a lot of nutritional supplements. How do I know as a layperson which ones are the best? Well, quite frankly, you can't know as a layperson which ones are best. It's not your job to know as a layperson which ones are best. It's not your job to know how to fix the brakes in your car. It's not your job to know how to fix the electrical service in your house. It's not your job to know how to put a roof on your house. It's not your job to know how to plumb your toilet. It's not your job to know quantum physics. It's not your job to know how to convert oil into gasoline. It's not your job to know how to pump oil out of the ground. Right? And neither is it your job to be able to discern the intricate subtleties involved in the manufacture and delivery of nutritional supplements. That's the physician's job. That's my job. So it always makes me laugh when, well, it's kind of a bittersweet reality that people are so frustrated with conventional medicine. And nobody knows what naturopathic medicine is. People have a hard time pronouncing it, let alone knowing what it is. And there are less than, I think, 5,000 licensed naturopathic physicians in the entire world right now. So people, generally speaking, know that conventional medicine doesn't work for chronic disease, and they're frustrated with the effects of conventional medicine, and they have it in their minds, correctly so, that there must be another way. So people are led to try to figure it out themselves, which is tantamount to, if you had a toothache, I guess you could go on the internet and figure out how to drill it yourself and how to fix it yourself. And then, buy all the tools you needed online and actually do it yourself. But that's kind of a bad idea. People don't do that, right? But people will, in fact, try to fix Lyme disease. They will, in fact, try to fix high blood pressure. They will, in fact, try to fix congestive heart failure or kidney disease or joint disease themselves by trying to figure it out online, which is a fool's errand. But, you have to do something because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you're suffering. And pain sucks. Suffering sucks. Not having optimal, body function is horrible. It's like the old adage, when the shoe fits, you don't feel it, but when the shoe doesn't fit, that's all you do is feel it. Well, it's the same way with your liver, your kidneys, your brain, your eyes, your throat, anything. When things start to go wrong with your body, it is a strong and persistent problem that has to be overcome. So people must do something. So they're driven to the internet to try to figure it out themselves, which is a tragedy. It's a Greek tragedy, because it's rarely is it going to end in a positive outcome, which is where we come in. This is why my job is so important. This is why Youngevity Nation is so important. Because guess what? There do exist right now, in real time, people who are still alive, licensed and regulated, holistic physicians whose job it is to figure all of this stuff out. That's my job. That's the job of my colleagues. That's the reason my profession exists. But because there are so few of us, I have a radio program. I've aligned myself with Youngevity, because everybody needs to know what we know, and nobody does know what we know, and people are inclined to try to figure it out themselves, which is a fool's errand. So, my job on this radio program and my job in interfacing with Youngevity Nation is to disseminate to the world in easy-to-understand terms the basic fundamental concepts of science-based, clinically verified, holistic medical nutrition, because healing is easy. You've been convinced by almost 100 years of political profiteering, pharmaceutical profiteering, to believe that healing is a complicated, sophisticated process that can only take place in multi-million-dollar high-tech facilities delivered by people with MDs after their name and white coats and stethoscopes around their neck. Quite frankly, anytime you see somebody with a white coat, if you're not bleeding to death, you should run the other way. But this is the situation that we're up against. We've been convinced that healing is a complicated process. It's not. Healing is easy. Surgery is complicated. Healing is easy. The body wants to fix itself, and my profession, members of my profession, are trained how to do that. So what we're doing on this radio program now and forever is to disseminate our information about boilerplate foundation medical nutrition therapeutics. Boilerplate foundation medical nutrition therapeutics. Stuff you can do right now without having to enlist a private consultation with a licensed and regulated naturopathic physician in your state, if such a one exists. There are simple foundation steps that everybody needs to take and can take without having to secure a private consultation with a holistic health professional. And that's what we bring to the table. This is what we talk about. Foundation medical nutritional strategies, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's ability to fix themselves. This is what we do, and why we do it is because everybody needs to know what we know, and nobody does know what we know. Right? I mean, we did simple steps about 100 years ago to double the lifespan of a human being, right? We cleaned up the water supply. We secured food production by having the government subsidize food production, and we cleaned up sewage. So by having public sanitation and clean water and regular food, we doubled life expectancy. Simple steps now that everybody takes for granted. Well, there are other simple steps that everybody needs to add into their daily routine. Eliminate foods that are messing up the body. There are 10 foods that we've identified that are not that great for the human body to interface with. You can get that list for free on my website. Free is good. Is free good? How do you like that? Free is good, I think. You can get that list for free on my website. Number 1, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Number 2, provide your body with the raw materials it needs every day, the 90 essential nutrients appropriate for your body weight, and that's what we talk about on this program. How to do that? The Youngevity Company has a number of ways that you can do that efficiently depending upon your circumstances in life, and it's a relatively easy thing to figure out, understand, and dial in. If everybody in the world cleaned up their diet and took the appropriate healthy pack for their body weight every day, within a couple of years, visits to MDs for chronic disease would like bottom out so much that you'd see MDs on street corners saying, we'll do an ultrasound for food, right? We'll stitch up the wound for gas money. Foundation Medical Nutrition is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. And you want to know why Youngevity's nutritional supplements are exceptional and why you would be wise to lean on Youngevity first before you even consider any other nutritional supplement company? Stick around. I'll tell you why after the break. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome aboard. Today is Wednesday, the 4th day of June, 2014, and this is Fire Your MD. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you, June 4th, 2014. Welcome back to another live edition of Fire Your MD. And now's a good time to fire your MD. You can join us for a live stream. Just go to drglidden.com, sign up, sign in, and all you need to do to sign in is give us an email address, and you can watch this radio show live. Enter the chat room. Type me in a question in the chat room. I'll try to get to 2 or 3 chat room questions today during the live broadcast. And Miguel Cartagena, if you can call the radio station and tell the listening audience your testimonial, that would be fantastic. That would be great. I'm going to be getting to the chat room questions in just a minute. But so here's the deal. Tomorrow night, for subscribers to my website, for Dr. Glidden Insiders, people who have a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription to my live webinars and my recorded archived health webinars, I'm going to be doing a presentation tomorrow night for insiders and their guests exclusively, which outlines specifically the uniqueness of the Youngevity brand, the uniqueness of the Youngevity nutritional supplements, and why specifically they are different from over-the-counter nutritional supplements and why they produce better results, because as God is my witness, they do. I used to work for a nutritional supplement company that only sold to physicians before I became involved with Youngevity. It was a great company. It still is a great company. And as a naturopathic physician, I have access to nutritional supplement companies that only sell to physicians. Yeah, their stuff is extremely, high quality, high potency. They'll only let doctors use it and give it to their patients. You can't get this stuff over the counter. And Dr. Wallach's therapeutics, by and large, the Youngevity products, by and large, are more effective. Dr. Wallach's formulations, Dr. Wallach's protocols, Dr. Wallach's methodology produce more consistent, better results than anything I've seen. And I've seen a lot, and I've used a lot. And, really, we can talk about biochemistry until we're blue in the face. We can talk about organic versus synthetic vitamin preparations. We can talk about the colloidal mineral versus the metallic form of the mineral. We can talk about the holistic recipe. We can talk about the molecular form of the nutritional, of is it vitamin, is it cholecalciferol or what is it? But all of these distinctions fade into nothingness in the face of clinical results. And this is what longevity rests upon. This is why why I'm a supporter of longevity, because it works better than anything I've ever seen. And that's as simple as it gets. I mean, that's all you need to really understand as a layperson. And you can go on the internet and you can be blindsided and dumbfounded and confused by all of this biochemical mumbo-jumbo that everybody and their brother is sprouting out about the alkalinity or the acidity of the supplement, and is it organic or is it synthetic, and whatever. And honestly, there are some interesting points to ponder about the biochemistry of it, but in the final analysis, what it all boils down to is what works and what doesn't work, and Dr. Wallach's supplements work. I mean, that's the simple take-home message here. Dr. Wallach's nutritional supplements, Dr. Wallach's methodology, Dr. Wallach's formulations produce more consistent, remarkable, and better results than anything I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot in my 20-plus years of clinical experience, coming up on 25 years now, coming up on 26, actually. So, and, I mean, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? Dr. Wallach, the founder of longevity, 75 years old today. Dr. Wallach, 75 years old today. He's in the Bahamas right now. Otherwise, I'd have him on the program. I'll have him on as soon as he gets back into the country. If you want to see for yourself how good longevity nutritional supplementation is, just look at Dr. Wallach. He's 75. He doesn't look any older than 70. He gives 300 free lectures a year. He lives on, American Airlines. I think he travels on American or United, wherever he travels. He can stand up in front of a room for 3 or 4 hours a day without needing any assistance. His hair is black, and he doesn't color it. And he looks great for 75 years old. He has the energy of a 20-year-old. He has the bone structure of a 20-year-old. I've seen his DEXA scan. Dr. Wallach is a living, breathing testament to the clinical effectiveness of the longevity brand of nutritional supplements. Quite frankly, if you have any concerns about longevity, I mean, just look at Dr. Wallach. And then if you can, look at the leaders of the other companies who are competing with longevity and put them side by side with Dr. Wallach. Proof of the pudding's in the eating. Going to the phones when we come back. It looks like Gottfried from Germany is up next. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here. Let's go right to the phones, which are ringing off the hook, and see what Gottfried from Germany is up to. Hold on. Let me get this to work here. Achtung, Gottfried. How's it going over there, buddy?
Oh, it's very good. Thank you very, very, very much. And first of all, I wish Dr. Wallach a happy and prosperous birthday.
Yeah, it's pretty great, right? 75. Can you believe it? I mean, Dr. Wallach, he's a force of nature, a phenomenal...
I've seen this before.
A phenomenal testament to medical nutrition. Just look at the guy, right? So what's going on, Gottfried? How can I help? What's on your mind today?
I have two questions. The first one is clinically, what is the difference between Ultra Body Toddy and Cell Shield ITQ and BTT, sorry?
Oh, the Ultra Body Toddy and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's not a lot of difference between those two products. Beyond Tangy Tangerine, in my understanding, was the next iteration after the Ultra Body Toddy. And so if you compare point by point, the amount of vitamins, the amount of minerals, and specifically what's in the product, then Beyond Tangy Tangerine is going to have more. I believe, off the top of my head, the operative difference here, the main difference is in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, there are 115 fruits and vegetables, kind of like what's in the Juice Plus product, right? The Juice Plus product. And I don't believe that those are presents in the Ultra Body Toddy. I mean, I'd have to have both labels in front of me and read it point by point. But the Beyond Tangy Tangerine came after the Ultra Body Toddy. And whenever Dr. Wallach does that, whenever Youngevity does that, they always improve upon the earlier version, right? And that's why that's why they also have, for over a year now, the Beyond Tangy 2.0, which is a step above the Beyond Tangy. So, and a couple of years from now, it'll change, and then it'll change again, because this is how we do it in order to keep up with advances in, medical nutrition.
And the second question is, how on earth can optometrist said he can use his octopus to look into the back of the eyes?
So run that by me once more.
Why can eye doctor not use his machines to look at the back of the eyes?
Oh, they can. An eye doctor can like the machine that they use when you go to have your vision checked to see what prescription you need for your glasses?
Said he can use his machine. The machines cannot see anything at the back of the eyes.
He's an idiot. I mean, he's wrong. I mean, that's like a medical doctor telling you he can't listen to your heart with a stethoscope. I mean, that's just nuts. It's crazy. I mean, it's wrong. So I've had this procedure done many times in the U.S. when I've gone to have my, contact lens prescription or my glasses prescription checked. They can put drops in your eye to dilate your eye, and they can look right in the back of it, and they can take a picture of it. They can do the whole 9 yards. I can't believe that that's different in Germany. I think that he's probably just trying to promote your going to him rather than going down the street to the guy that, checks the eye, checks your vision for your glasses, right? Isn't that crazy? I mean, isn't that crazy what they get away with? It's nuts.
It is. It is crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me, man, what they get away with. But what are you going to do, Gottfried? I mean, it's a crazy world, and, we do our best here to, tell the truth and to...
that's why I rely 100% on longevity.
Yeah, you got to love Youngevity. How are your blood sugar levels, by the way? You've been struggling with that for a while. How's that going?
Very good.
Excellent. All right, Gottfried, you're the man. Keep up the work. Yeah?
A testimony of one of my downlines is getting blind, and all of a sudden taking the Ultimate Daily tablet, his eyes got back. He can drive without the glasses and everything.
So he was getting legally blind.
Yep. And also the eye doctors can do for him is that he should buy new glasses, new lenses.
Now, how long did it take for him on Youngevity to have a turnaround with his vision?
Less than 3 months.
Boy, you got to love it. I mean, how old was he and how much did he weigh?
57 years, and he's about 150 or so.
Well, you got to love it, man. I mean, you really have to love it, right? Testimonials keep piling up. But now, in a perfect world, let me tell you another little political piece to this pie here, right? Because of freedom of speech, people can call into any radio program they want and tell people what happened to them with medical nutrition or holistic medicine. They can do that. But we can't advertise that secondarily on a website or in a magazine. This is why in the United States you never ever see any advertisements for testimonials for anything, right? The only thing that's allowed for is non-medical conditions like, hair loss. I mean, that's not a medical condition, according, not yet. Or weight loss, right? So this is why Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and weight loss people can advertise in magazines and on TV and anywhere they want before and after stuff. And this is why dentists that do teeth straightening and teeth whitening can show before and after advertisements. But for anything else, macular degeneration, arthritis, anything that's a dyed-in-the-wool diagnosis, testimonials are illegal. And why do you think they're illegal?
Their things are killing people.
Yeah. So they're illegal because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want the masses of people in the world to have any idea whatsoever that anything other than drugs and surgery is effective.
Exactly, so that they can kill you.
This is so that they can continue to rule the roost in medicine, right?
All right.
It's a problem. It's a big problem. There was a movement afoot here in the United States years ago to make testimonials legal. There was a bill trying to be passed in Congress to make testimonials legal, but sadly, the person who was championing that cause died. He died last year. He was a supporter of the show. He was a supporter of Dr. Wallach. He was elderly and he died, which was a bit of a problem. But nonetheless, if people, generally speaking, had any idea of the political underpinnings which hold up conventional medicine and the pharmaceutical industry, there would be a revolution again around the world, because
Look,
it is worse.
Dr. G, can you tell me something? How are we different from North Koreans if this is happening in Europe and Canada?
There's no difference. There's no difference. But because it's medical, because it's been baked into the cake over the last, 80, 100 years, people just accept it as the norm. And, it's like people don't know what they don't know, and people rattle their prescription medications to celebrate their health. And it's getting to a point, it's going to get to a breaking point eventually, but this is one of the cool things about longevity, because longevity understands, Dr. Wallach specifically understood the political nonsense that's going on here and the unbelievable monopolization of the medical market by the pharmaceutical industry. Dr. Wallach had direct first-hand experience with that. Dr. Wallach also has sued the Food and Drug Administration in the United States. So Dr. Wallach knows what it takes to fight the medical industry, right up front. And that's why he developed longevity. He developed longevity to do an end around the pharmaceutical industry. So we're not going to fight them anymore. We're not going to take them to court. We're not going to try to have more naturopathic medical schools built. We're not going to try to have more states license and regulate naturopathic medicine. What we're going to do is grow a grassroots coalition of the informed, people who know the simple solutions that medical nutrition has to offer and to tell everybody in their life about it.
But the meantime, people are dying like flies.
People are dying like
with the VA.
That's correct.
And they continue talking about Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and they are doing the same thing at home.
And it's crazy. And so how I channel my frustration and how I channel my anger about all of this, and, righteous anger is indicated here, is through generating a strong and effective longevity coalition. And, this is what gets me up in the morning, and this is how we're going to make a difference in the world. We can't do anything about 9/11. We can't do anything really about politics because the money is way too big and the power is way too big, but we still have freedom of speech. We still have the ability to buy nutritional supplements here. And so we're going to generate a grassroots coalition of the informed, of people all around the world who recover their health, just like you're doing and like your friend did, and then who spread the message. And it's only a matter of time until that becomes like a wildfire all around the world, and it's going to be because of people just like you, Gottfried. So Godspeed, keep up the good work. You, in fact, are the last best hope.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, I'll see you in the future. This is how we do it, folks, and this is why we do it. This is why I do it. I mean, different people, come into longevity, get involved with medical nutrition for different reasons, and you don't have to become a longevity distributor here. There's two ways you can interface with us. You can interface with longevity as a customer. You can get the health recovery protocols and the nutritional supplements for the wholesale price. The protocols are free. You get the nutritional supplements at the wholesale price, and you got to buy stuff somewhere. You might as well get the best stuff in the world and get it at the wholesale price, right? I mean, so you can just become a customer, or you can become a distributor. And if you become a distributor, we will pay you to help spread the word of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Youngevity right now has created over 200 multi-million-dollar earners and 200 people that have made multiple millions of dollars helping people to recover their health. And that's like never fail fudge. I mean, what could be better than that? Is there anything better than that? Well, there might be. I mean, win the lottery, that's better than that, maybe. You know, you win the lottery, that's a great thing, but have you helped anybody in the process? No. With Youngevity, you increase your wealth by helping others to increase their health, and there's not even one thing that's wrong with that. And it's a million times easier than most people think that it is. People have been scared away from network marketing because of network marketing distributors over the years who have their heads up there, you know what, and who oversell whatever they're selling, who talk about whatever they're selling inappropriately. They're the people that you really don't want to see at the wedding, the people that you really don't want to see at the cocktail party, right? Because all they do is pitch, sell, sell, sell. Those people have given network marketing a bad name. Network marketing is not like that. Network marketing is full of integrity. True network marketing is full of integrity, it's full of honesty, and it's all about helping people. That's what it is. And if you become a member of Youngevity, especially if you become a member of Team Glidden, or if you become an insider, if you're already a member of somebody else's Youngevity group, you can become an insider, gain access to our enrollment instructions, our business training, and the health stuff that we have, and learn how to become an effective, sophisticated, awesome network marketer. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is bright indeed. I'm going to talk to Miguel when we come back. Stick around. You're missing some great chat in the chat room of the live video cast. Go to drglidden.com and check it out. I'd like to give a shout out to the people in the chat room now. Rita, Cynthia Rogers, Teresa, Mopar's Rule in Iowa, Sunday, S. Brico, who else is here? EP, Kyle Ann, and Miguel Cartagena, who I believe is up next. Hello, Miguel. Thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, this is Dr. Glenn. I'm calling for my aunt for my lupus, but first of all, I would like to share my story if I'm allowed.
Yeah, go ahead, man. That's why we're here.
Okay. My story is I was trying to join the United States Marine Corps, and I joined the recruiter. I took the ASVAB for the MO as I wanted, all that stuff. And then I started doing personal training. I was working 4 hours a day with 50-pound weights and doing exercises after that. Was really motivated. But I took, but I took 2 weeks off, and suddenly I couldn't move. Long story short, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and that was bad. I started taking medications, but the first one gave me a reaction, and the second one gave me an infection.
Wow.
That got me suspicious because one of the doctors, who was a neurologist, if they're supposed to set an example, they're supposed to eat healthy and stuff like that. But the minute I saw that he ate KFC for lunch when he arrived at the office, I started getting suspicious. While, yeah. And the other person who was treating me for the disease had a legal license that still lasts till 2018.
Wow.
And also, another suspicion. And then I said, he also said that MS was genetic. I found this suspicious because how can somebody have a legal permission, right, to do something regardless if a cure or a better treatment is found? I stopped taking medications and I tried to find out specifically of why MS happened. So I started searching out the symptoms and the treatments for MS, and I could recognize, what specifically MS is. most of the cases of MS that occurs in the world, and the similarities are they have the same heartbeats and the lack of vitamin D. Very interesting. One thing stood out. Apparently in Sweden, has a few months a year where the sun only appears for like 4 hours a day. My logic was, if this is true, then people who work inside buildings will not have sunlight or vitamin D for a few months, which will lead them to be vitamin D deficient. And when they get a chance, it's dark or cold because it only appears for 4 hours a day. So far, my knowledge was, most of MS patients have the same heartbeats, live north of the equator, which means it snows, which means not very much sunlight in a few countries for a few months, and even less if you work a daytime and 8-hour job. According to an article I read about atherosclerosis, it requires, at least the basic thing I read was, it requires calcium, iron, triglycerides, but vitamin D helps clear this plague. If you're vitamin D deficiency, you're obviously going to get atherosclerosis, at least to what I found out.
All right, Miguel, now we got 1 minute left in this segment, so bring it on home, brother. So what did you do and what happened?
Okay, so basically I started, looking for, what all the things that the disease was, and pretty much was all vitamin deficiency, all nutrient deficiencies in the body. So I started taking the longevity products along with another diet, and most of my symptoms were gone in a month and a half.
How long ago was that?
I think it was about February. I even put a link here in the chat right now of my picture. I lost about 40 weights too.
Wow.
I lost 40 pounds, I lost 40 pounds and healed most of my MS symptoms trusting longevity.
Gotta love it, man. You are the greatest. You stick with me. I'll bring up your question for your aunt or whoever it was on the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing speaks louder than results, and that's what we're all about here. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. See you in hour 2. The second hour is upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your friendly neighborhood naturopathic physician. We are talking to Miguel, I believe from Puerto Rico, who had a remarkable testimonial about multiple sclerosis, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. The drugs that the MDs gave him made him worse, gave him an infection. Then he started to figure out how to get on the other side of it himself, stumbled across longevity somehow, got on board with Longevity's medical nutritional protocol, the intention of which was not to treat multiple sclerosis, but to support and promote his central nervous system's ability to optimize its structure and function. And now the majority of his multiple sclerotic symptoms have gone, disappeared, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Miguel, welcome back. I think you had a question about somebody?
Yes, I was calling because my aunt, she has lupus, and she tells my mother that she's scheduled to have next week dialysis 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to help. I know it's not going to work, but I don't know what to,
Well, look, so we need to keep it in perspective, right? Because dialysis is only recommended if the kidneys are failing. Well, that's not always true, but most of the time dialysis is recommended because the kidneys are failing. Dialysis can, under certain circumstances, help to keep people alive, but dialysis never ever gets to the root cause of why the kidneys are funky in the first place, right? Or, why the heart is funky in the first place or whatever. So dialysis is like a stopgap in the same way that prednisone is like a stopgap or pain medications are like a stopgap. It doesn't get to the root cause of the problem, but it can keep people alive. What she needs to do is get on board with a medical nutrition program, the intention of which is to support and promote the structure and function of her body. I did a really good webinar on lupus. It's available for insiders. Go to my website, pick up a subscription, become a Dr. Glidden Insider. It's $20 a month, and then you can go into the archives, find the webinar that I did on lupus, watch it yourself, and then you can, as a member, you can cut, copy, and paste a link of any of the webinars that I've done and email it to anybody in your life. And that's how, one of the ways that sophisticated Youngevity network marketers are building their downline and supporting the health of people all around the world by emailing them the webinars that I've done. And if people in their group don't have access to the internet or that seems too scary for them, I've done 2 sets of DVDs where I talk about different health conditions on the back of my DVDs. This one has on the back of it a clear vision of eye health, how to have healthy kidney function, AFib, sleep, inflammatory bowel disease, stroke recovery and prevention, and relief from fibromyalgia. I have a number of webinars that you can use. Number 1, to educate yourself about what's going on, and number 2, to educate others about what's going on. And this is why, to be a successful Youngevity person, all you have to do is tell the truth and point. I know a doctor that says you don't have to suffer with that. If I send you a link to this webinar, will you watch it? If I bring you to this radio show, will you call in? If I lend you this DVD or this audio CD, will you watch it or listen to it? It's that easy. But I'll tell you right now, the recommendation for lupus, when we're up against lupus, we need to support the immune system. And interestingly enough, to support the immune system, we have to support the intestinal tract. And I talk about the relationship between the intestinal tract and the immune system at length in the webinar that I gave. So the recommendation here, interestingly enough, would be 1 healthy digestion pack and 2 bottles of selenium. 1 healthy digestion pack and 2 bottles of selenium. 1 bottle of Maquis Plus, that's MAQUI Plus, 1 bottle of Maquis Plus per 100 pounds of body weight per month. That's a really good place to start when we're trying to optimize the structure and function of the body when people are dealing with lupus. Now, if the lupus is centered on the skin, then you can give extra glucogel and extra essential fatty acids. If the lupus has its center of gravity in the lungs, you can give extra essential fatty acids or whatever. But a good place to start is with the Healthy Digestion Pack, Maquis Plus, and selenium, in addition to, of course, eliminating the 10 bad foods. But Miguel, you sound like the smartest person in Puerto Rico. So I would encourage you to get an insider subscription and use the information there to leverage your work and your ability to enroll other people. Because honestly, man, Youngevity Nation is the last best hope that most people have. I mean, look at what Godfrey did in Europe, right? I mean, Germany. And now his friend isn't legally blind anymore and he can drive again. And that never would have happened without Youngevity. It never would have happened without, Godfried stepping up to the plate and telling somebody in his life about this. And that's what we need you to do, and that's what we need everybody in the world to do. And honestly, I can't think of a better thing to do every day. I have a full board of calls, Miguel. I got to go. I appreciate you very much. Thank you very, very much for your kind words and for your dedication to figuring out your health issues outside of conventional medicine. Oh, Canada is up next. Let's talk to Jim and see what's cracking north of the border. Hey, Jim, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden, I've got 2 questions for you.
All right.
I wanted to ask the first one but anyway, my sister-in-law is diagnosed with monocytic leukemia.
Oh, yeah. Whew.
And like she gets about every 3 or 4 weeks she gets 2 or 3 pints of blood, and because she's very weak, then she gets very tired. And I don't know, that's about all they can do for her, I think.
Yeah, that is about all they can do for her. And, that's a tough row to hoe. Historically, there were medical clinics in the world, well, I don't know the world, in the United States, that were treating leukemia with arsenic. actually therapeutic doses of arsenic, and they were having really great success. But then Big Pharma came along with chemotherapy, and once they started rolling out chemotherapy, all other avenues of cancer treatment and cancer research vanished. Now, I'm going to do an entire month-long expose of that this fall. I'm going to do an entire month-long expose on cancer this fall, so stay tuned. But, number one, we don't treat disease here, especially cancer, right? But she's up against it.
Yes.
From our point of view, what we need to do when somebody is struggling with this illness is support healthy bone marrow function. So to do that, in order to support and promote healthy bone marrow function, the recommendation is 1 healthy bone and joint pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 healthy bone and joint pack, 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and as much Z radical, Z like zebra, radical as she can afford. And if she can afford a bottle a day, great. If she can afford a bottle a week, great. If she can afford a bottle a month, well, she should try to do better than that. But that's going to be to poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Plus, of course, eliminate the 10 bad foods. I think you had another question?
Yeah, that's for my wife. Now, my wife had she had a couple of strokes, and she had a weak ankle. We took the healthy bone for that, but she had hemorrhoids, and sometimes they were bleeding. Now, one of your associates, they said too that we had to take selenium, which she is doing 3 times 3 a day, and it stopped for quite a long time. And would you believe yesterday it started to bleed again? Now, is this normal that it sometimes bleed, or because of the healing, or what is this?
No, it's not because of the healing. It's because the problem hasn't cleared up 100%, right?
I see. Okay.
So it's kind of like when we get on board with an appropriate therapeutic, and I don't care if it's acupuncture, I don't care if it's homeopathy, I don't care if it's chiropractic, I don't care if it's medical nutrition or herbs, whatever it is, if it's appropriate and it's effective, and it's used for something that's a chronic, long-standing condition, the resolution from the problem is always like a roller coaster going downhill, right? You get a little bit better and a little bit better, and then you hit a bump, and then you get a little bit better, then you hit a bump, and then you get a little bit better and a little bit better like that. So as long as the bumps, the return of the old symptoms are less intense than they were in the past and they don't last as long, then we're doing all the right stuff. It's just a normal part of the healing process. There are little bumps along the way.
Yeah, because today was nothing. There was no bleeding at all today again, so...
Yeah, I would keep track of it, though, just for your own sanity, right? I would keep a little record on the calendar.
Right.
And, what you should be seeing is every month there should be less and less episodes of the bleeding, right?
Yeah, but she hasn't had any bleeding, I think, for at least 4 weeks or so. Anyway,
Yeah. So that's good. Now, there's one other thing you might want to just look to see, right? Because sometimes you can screw the program up. The operative thing to support and promote vascular health here, blood vessels, which is what we need to do when we're dealing with hemorrhoids, is copper.
Right.
The copper is in the selenium, and the copper is a mineral like selenium. If you take the copper supplement, if you swallow the selenium supplement that has copper in it, on top of a meal that had phytates in it, then the phytates will bind to the copper and not let them be absorbed into the bloodstream. So you want to do a little Google search for phytates, and let me spell that for you. It's P-H-Y, T like Thomas, A, T like Thomas, E, for foods that contain phytates. Now, foods that contain phytates are not going to hurt you like fried food will, but if you're taking a mineral supplement, you should take it away 2 hours minimum from the consumption of any food that's high in phytates. So look to see yesterday or whenever this happened, or 24 hours before it happened, if she was eating, a boatload of food that had phytates in it. I mean, you never know. But in any event, that's the long and the short of it, man. I appreciate your work up in Canada. Keep it up, Jim. Your community depends on you more than you know. Stick around, folks. Virginia's up next with Terry. Shout out to Mike Finoni in the chat room. He joins us all the way from exit 63 in New Jersey. Also, Sunday is in the chat room. Eva is in the chat room. Rita is in the chat room. Thanks for logging in, tuning in, and turning on, everybody. Check it out. Live video streaming of this radio show right now at drglidden.com. Check it out. Tune in and turn on. We are here to make a difference. Let's go right back to the phones now and talk to Terry, I believe, in Virginia. Hey, Terry, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden.
What's going on, Terry?
How you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect. Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I've been having some real dark green, black forest green bowel movements for the past 3 mornings. And, you recommended a liver cleanse recently. I thought I had something to juice the beets with, but I didn't, so I finally was able to get a juicer last night. And I want to start the liver cleanse, but you wanted me to get some Hepal, which is not available locally. And I've got to order it from Youngevity in a little bit, and it's probably going to take about 2 weeks from what my other orders have been taken. But I do have access to another herbal formula with about 15 different types of herbs in it, and I'm wondering if you want me to just juice without the herbal formula or use that until I get to Hepal. So so I'm a little confused. So is the plan to do a fast with juicing? No solid food? I talked to you a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and you said that I should start doing a beet juice cleanse in my liver.
Yeah.
I had a NutriBullet, but it's not juicing it. It's just making, it's just pulp. And so I finally got me a good juicer, and the Granny Smith apples and the carrots and stuff, and I'm ready to juice, but I don't have the Hepal yet.
Yeah, there's no problem. You can start the juicing right away. The only thing that's really mandatory when you do that is the selenium and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You have both of those?
No, I just have the selenium.
All right, you don't have any Beyond Tangy?
No, I accidentally forgot to order it last month, and so I've been doing the Healthy Start Pack for, whenever you're on the go.
Oh, then that's no problem. You can do that plus the selenium and start doing the juice. Now, what's the deal with this grass green bowel movement thing? Have you ever had that before?
No, it's black forest green. It's the green that's almost black. And I've had 3 in the past 3 mornings in a row.
Okay, so here's what you want to do. You have any pain or chills or sweat or fever or anything?
No, I did have just a little minor pain in there in my liver about 2 weeks ago before I called you, and you told me to do the cleanse.
All right, so here's what I'd like you to do. There could be a number of things going on here, but we need to rule out the most serious. So you want to go to the pharmacy, CVS or Walgreens or whatever, and get an occult, OCCULT blood test kit, occult blood test. So that checks to see whether or not there's blood in your stool, and bright red blood in your stool is easy to see, and that's 99% of the time due to a cut or a hemorrhoid in the rectal area. It's entirely possible that the dark greenish black stuff that you're seeing is blood. And if it is, it's from higher up in the intestinal tract, and that's a relatively important thing to rule out, especially since you've had it for a couple days in a row here. It's a really inexpensive test. It's a really easy test to do. You can pick them up at most pharmacies. That's the first thing to do. And if it does test positive for blood, then call me back on the radio and I'll tell you what to do, because I don't want you to go to the MDs. But call me up and I'll give you advice about what to do. Now, it's a long shot that it's blood, because blood typically doesn't present in that color, but it's possible. I want to rule it out, though. So that's what I want you to do first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I ate the beets, and then, of course, I had a bloody-looking stool, and I also had a bloody-looking urine.
How long ago did you eat the beets?
Well, I didn't cleanse with them because I couldn't juice them.
I didn't ask you that. How long ago did you eat them?
It's been like about 2 days ago since I ate the last of the beets.
So you've been eating beets all along here for how many days?
For about 4 days.
Yeah, so that's probably what this is. It's just the beets that are coming out. But I want you to get the occult blood test because you had the pain in the liver a little bit while ago. It's better safe than sorry. It's inexpensive. It's easy to do. It's non-invasive. And I want to know. So check it out and call me back, Terry from Virginia. I will look forward to it. Dolores from New Jersey is up next, folks. Da, 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 da. Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, June 4th, 2014. Fire your MD now. Such a sweet sound to that phrase. Let's go to New Jersey and see what Dolores is up to. Hey, Dolores, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, how you doing, Dr. Gritton?
Good. What's happening?
I've spoken to you before, but I'm wondering why doesn't this help me? Because I am taking the glucose gel,
Yep.
the 240, and Beyond Ostro FX.
Yep.
Also the EFA Plus,
Yep.
and the Tangerine
Yep.
for the stenosis of the spine and the arthritis in the hip, in my my left hip. So what's going on is making me very, very stiff that I just had to stop taking it for like a week or say a week and a half and to move because it was stopping me from moving.
Well,
Then when I sit down, where the pelvic area is, then it's not paining then, but when I get up, it's hard to get up and move.
Okay.
So it hadn't taken away pain or anything. And then the cream that CMS that for pain, that doesn't even help my pain.
Okay, and you stopped all the 10 bad foods?
Yeah, I stopped. Right.
Okay, so what'd you have for breakfast this morning?
This morning I had 2 eggs, boiled eggs.
And that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't, eat a breakfast.
Yeah, I know. Okay, good. I get it. All right. So, how much do you weigh?
Like 162.
Okay, and how many glucogel capsules a day were you taking?
I think the last time you were saying try to take 15 a day.
Yeah, and did you do that?
And I was taking that and then taking the Beyond Ostro FX, the liquid. So something might be too much for me.
No, it's never too much. Sometimes, and so how long did you do that program? Did you do it for a month, 3 months, a year? How long?
The last part of March. So part of March, last 2 weeks of March, April, May, and now this is June.
Okay, so
I should feel some difference somewhere.
Yeah, you should feel some difference somewhere, but you don't feel any different anywhere.
No. Now, the only thing that now I had, both of my hands would be like numb, kind of numb. Like now, my right hand feels better. It's not completely gone, but it feels much better. The left one is still like that.
Yeah. So, there's only one possibility here, Dolores. There's only one possibility that you just haven't given the program long enough to work. And, the body, one of the things that we're used to in this culture is an immediate fix, right? I mean, because let's be honest, you go to the doctor, you've got heartburn, you take a heartburn medicine, and either in 1 hour or 24 hours you feel better, there's no more heartburn, or you take the Tylenol, and 15 minutes later the headache's gone, or whatever. That's what we're used to in conventional pharmaceutical medicine, and that's kind of what we've grown up with inside of that, understanding.
Right.
Medical nutrition is a completely different animal, because medical nutrition attempts to fix the problem rather than just sweep the symptoms under the rug, which is what pharmaceutical medicine does, right? Drug medicine. So the basic rule of thumb with medical nutrition is when you start the program, you give it 3 months, 12 weeks, 90 days before you judge it up or down. And in that 90-day period, if you see anything positive improve that's remarkable, then that means that you're doing the right stuff. You just need to ride that horse, continue to do the program until it all rolls around for you. And, it might take 6 months, might take 9 months. I don't know. Might take 2 more weeks.
To moving and doing stuff,
Well, all right. So
I got to the point where I couldn't move hardly.
Well,
so
all right.
Maybe I'm taking too much.
No, you're not taking too much, but there's an interesting thing that can be happening here, and the only way that we can tell this is to look to see how you feel now that you've stopped it, right? Because the Beyond Tangy Tangerine stuff, were you taking the one with that was red or the one that was orange? The one in the blue label or the orange? Okay.
Mm-hmm. The powdered.
Yeah. So it's possible that you were experiencing an allergic reaction, a low-grade allergic reaction to some of the fruits and the vegetables that are in that product. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because food allergies are a very real thing, and there's a typical food allergy that we think about, like the little boy or the little girl eats a peanut. They're allergic to the peanut, and their skin swells up, and they need an epinephrine shot. Excuse me. That's called an immediate hypersensitivity reaction.
Does it make your bones hurt?
Well, it can. If you are consuming something regularly that you have developed a low-grade allergy to, then yeah, it can make your bones hurt. It can make anything hurt. But one of the things that it does, if you consume something that you're allergic to, is usually within 30 minutes of eating or drinking whatever it is that you're allergic to, you get kind of tired. You get kind of tired. Did you ever have that experience that within an hour of taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you'd feel tired or flagged out or like you needed to sit down or take a nap?
No, nothing like that. The only thing I'd feel is just like both cheeks, just tighten up.
Yeah, okay.
And that bone, because when I sit down, it's like, wow, you hate to stand up because it's going to pain.
Yeah, no, I get that. And that's a brand new symptom for you, right? That's a brand new thing?
That's real tight, yes. But the pain in the hip, I've had that. And that's the one I would wish that this would take the pain away.
Well, I understand, but look, the basic, this isn't magic, Dolores. The basic understanding is that if the pain in the hand went away, it's only a matter of time until the pain in the hip goes away, because that's how
the hand wasn't pain. The hand was like numb. The tips of my fingers.
Okay, so the hand improved, right?
Yeah, I can feel improvement there.
Yeah, so therefore we would assume that the rest of the body is going to come around as well, but God only knows how long that's going to take. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Might take 2 more weeks, might take 2 years, but if the increased sense of stiffness that you experienced was in fact related to a low-grade allergic reaction, when you stop taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which you've done, right? You stopped it.
Yeah.
The stiffness should go away, and it should take about a week for it to go away.
It did go away. That stiffness, tightness in the buttock area, except for the pain in the...
Well, all right, so the pain you've already had, but the stiffness that was a new thing disappeared after you stopped the Beyond Tangy, right?
Yes.
So that means you had an allergic reaction to the Beyond Tangy. That's what caused that.
But let me ask you, these nutrients, what is that going to do with the stenosis of the spine and the hip? Does that build bone or something? What is it doing?
Yeah, so it's
more bone?
No, it's not making more bone. It's helping your body fix the bone that's not right, because the body, the body has mechanisms in place where it chews up old funky bone and it lays down new bone all of the time. This is happening all of the time. And so medical nutrition supports that process. It supports the body's chewing up the old bone and laying down the new bone. It's virtually impossible for your body to make too much bone under a medical nutrition program. I mean, you'd be throwing up. I've never seen it happen in 25 years.
But you know, I heard someone say on this program that they had a knee replacement, and they were on this product, and it grew bone over top of that knee replacement.
Yeah, it didn't grow bone over top of the knee replacement. It grew cartilage on top of the knee replacement. That was a remarkable case, and that happened because the knee wasn't completely gone. The surgeon surgeried the knee sooner than they needed to. They shouldn't have done the surgery, and that's why the cartilage grew back on top of the fake knee. So this is what's happening to you here, Dolores, regretfully, is called a low-grade delayed hypersensitivity food allergy. Now, what that means is you need to take something different other than the Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Oh.
You need to take something different than the Beyond Tangy Tangerine because it was that was causing the problem. So what I would do, what you could switch to, would be something called Ultimate Daily Capsules. Ultimate Daily Capsules.
Ultimate
Daily Capsules, yep.
Daily Capsules.
Take 6 a day.
So should I continue to take all the rest of it, though?
Yeah, I would continue the EFAs, the selenium, the white liquid calcium, and I would just add the Ultimate Daily to it and stop taking the Beyond Tangy.
Okay. So this has, what do you call it, glucose? So that's very good?
You mean the glucogel? I want you to keep taking the glucogel, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to say glucosamine, however you say it.
Glucosamine sulfate, yeah, that's in the glucogel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the other. So that's,
now, have you ever had the experience, Dolores, that you had shrimp somewhere and you had an allergic reaction to it?
No.
Ever had an allergic reaction to shrimp or lobster or shellfish?
No. So you're saying I'm allergic to shellfish?
Well, no, I'm asking if in the past.
When you say that, I had a what is it, MRI or the CAT scan where they give you the dye.
Yeah.
I did have a reaction a long time ago, so they said it was some type of shellfish that I was allergic to.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so you need to stop the glucogel too.
Stop that too?
Yeah, because the glucogel has shellfish in it.
Oh, I thought it didn't have it.
No, the glucogel has shellfish in it for sure.
Oh.
Now, having said that, Dolores, right, it's entirely possible that it was the glucogel and not the Beyond Tangy that you were reacting to. Did you stop both of them in the last week?
I just stopped the whole thing, the whole
thing. All right, so here's what I'd like you to do, please. All right. I'd like you to get and I want you to do this for 3 days in a row, or 3 days at a time. So for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'd like you to go back on the white liquid calcium just for 3 days and see if it makes you feel funky. Okay?
Okay.
If it doesn't, I want you to continue to take it. And then Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I want you to add the selenium and see if that makes you feel funky.
So the selenium, you're saying the Beyond Tangerine?
No. Were you taking a little capsule that said selenium in it, or were you not doing that?
Something says selenium in it. Let me see.
Yeah, okay. So I think you have a selenium supplement. You also have an EFA supplement, right?
Yeah, EFA.
All right. So first I want you to do the liquid calcium for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want you to do the EFAs for 3 days.
Okay.
Then I want you to do the Beyond Tangy Tangerine for 3 days.
Okay.
And see if any of those make you feel funky. If none of them make you feel funky, then the only thing we have to switch out is the glucogel, because if someone told you had an allergy to shellfish, it's guaranteed the glucogel you can't have anymore, and we have to do a workaround for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so do this little experiment deal for 9 days, and then call me back next week. Tell me what happened,
Okay.
and I'll tell you what to do. And I appreciate your patience with this. I really do. I'll get you there. You just trust me, okay? I appreciate it. Stick around, folks. Los Angeles is up next. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. We're finishing up the show June 4th, 2014. Let's go to Los Angeles and talk to Celeste. Hey, Celeste, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hi, Dr. Lennon. I was having a problem with my left leg. It was like swelling,
Yeah.
like fluid. And I prop it up at night, and I can't get it to go down. And this is happening all through the day.
Yeah.
And like the lady that just went off, I can relate to what she was saying. But I know I have food allergies that I'm trying to find out. So should I follow the same protocol she's following?
No, well, it's different because these are two different animals, right? So the most common cause of swelling in the extremities is a lack of protein in the blood. It's not a circulation issue. It's a lack of protein in the blood. And when you don't have enough protein in the blood, water gets sucked out of the blood vessels into the skin instead of the reverse, which is what the body tries to do. The body tries to suck water out of the tissue into the blood to get rid of it and to filter it and process it, right? Because all of the cells in the body all the time are creating waste products, and the waste products goes into the liquid extracellular fluid, and then that extracellular fluid is picked up by the veins and brought into the heart, which pumps it through the kidneys. So if you don't have enough protein in the blood, it goes the other way, and instead of water being sucked into your circulatory system, it gets pushed out of the circulatory system, and that's what causes the legs to swell up. It's not enough protein in the blood, which begs the question, well, what causes that? Well, it's the only one of two things. It's either you're not eating enough protein or you're not digesting the protein that you're eating. So you wouldn't be a vegetarian, would you?
No.
So
no.
Okay, so there has to be a digestion issue. So the recommendation then is to do the following. Get the Youngevity Ultimate Enzymes. It's digestive enzymes. Get a couple of bottles of Ultimate Enzymes. And I want you to take 2 or 3 of the Ultimate Enzymes at the beginning of a meal. If it's just a small meal, you can do 2. If it's a big meal, I want you to do 3 of the Ultimate Enzymes before a meal. I want you to salt the food that you eat so that it tastes good. How much liquid calcium are you taking right now?
I'm taking 1 ounce in the morning and 1 at 6 o'clock.
All right, so as an experiment for 7 days, I want you to do 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces in the afternoon, and 2 ounces before bed. For 7 days, I want you to do 6 ounces a day of the white liquid calcium. And because your stomach needs calcium in order to have strong stomach acid, it's entirely possible that your stomach acid just isn't strong enough to digest protein, and that's why this is happening. And you also need salt to have strong stomach acid. So as a little experiment, I want you to overdo it a little bit with salt. Every time you eat something that's appropriate to put salt on, I want you to do 6 ounces of calcium a day for 7 days. And get some digestive enzymes and take the digestive enzymes before the meal. And Celeste, for the next 7 days, every time that you eat something, and I do not care what it is, at least 50% of what you're eating has to be protein. So, meat, fish, chicken, cheese, mixed salted nuts, smoked salmon, rice and beans. Eggs, of course, are the protein that all other proteins are compared to. So you want to go crazy for protein for the next 7 days. Salt your food. Double down on your calcium. Get the digestive enzymes and see if the problem goes away. I'm going to bet you that it will. It's 99 times out of 100, and I just made that statistic up. The only thing that's at play here is there's simply not enough protein in the blood, and that's caused by bad digestion or not enough protein in the body. So give that a run.
Cal, that's not the OsteoFX, is it?
Yeah, it's a liquid calcium water. Don't you like that?
I love it. I have the OsteoFX and I have the glucose.
Cal Toddy? What's the other one that you have? You have the OsteoFX and what?
And the glucogel.
All right, so I want you to do 6 ounces of the OsteoFX a day for 7 days, okay?
Okay, got it.
All right, Celeste, let me know what happens. Thanks, everybody, for logging on. God willing and the creek don't rise, back in the saddle tomorrow. Till then, live long and prosper. Dr. Glidden over and out.